Hi everyone, we are going to show you a demo of the automation tool iTest. In order to do that, we have a virtual machine that represents a Linux server, which we are going to use to verify some configuration. So what I'm going to do first is I'm going to create a topology. I'm going to save this topology in my project. And then, as you're going to see, this is just a graphical representation of my environment where I have links and I have devices. So I'm gonna drop a server, and then what I'm gonna do to this server is adding a session. So I'm gonna connect to my virtual machine, which is the Linux server. As you can see here, I can put the name, I can select the language, TCL or Python, and these are all the sessions that I can use to connect to any type of device. So we have different sessions for aspiring devices and for any type of device. We are going to select the SSH session. So I configure the IP address, the port is the default one, and then the credential, the username and the password. Once I do that, I start my session, so I'm gonna input some commands. As you can see, now I'm inside the server. And then once I do that, iTest is gonna show me that it found some prompts. So we are gonna go and edit those prompts so we can make them more general. So we edit the session, and now we go one by one. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to make them general for any user. So this is going to be a wildcard. The password can be like that. And this one, I'm going to make it a wildcard too. So I configure this, I save it and run it again. I input my commands so I can use the different prompts. And I close it. So now there is no message because all the prompts were recognized. So now I'm going to create a new test case. I'm going to save it in my project folder in test cases. And you're going to be able to see how easy it is to add actions or steps to this test. So I'm going to record the actions that I want to perform in my automation. To do that, I start my session. And now I'm gonna input some commands, same as usually. And this is being recorded by iTest, and then it's gonna be translated to the TCL language that I selected in my session. So I end up recording, and I'm gonna add that to my test case. So here's my test case. These are the steps or the actions that I just performed. So I run it, and this is done automatically. Now, as I said before, I want to verify something from the response of the commands. You can see I can see the output of each command in the response view. So let's say I want to verify that value there. So I'm going to just add an analysis rule, and with regex I'm going to select the value I want to verify, and I'm going to leave it as 1500. So I'm going to check if it's correct or not. And now you can see it's green because it actually is, but I'm going to run my test so you can see how the test result is going to change. As you can see, there is a green tick, so the test passed. And this is the response, which is correct. So now I'm gonna make it fail. In order to do that, I'm gonna put a value that I know is not real, which is 1000. So you can see it's already in red. I run it. I automatically perform my task. And now the test has failed. So now I'm gonna go and I'm gonna just edit this again so my test doesn't fail. And I'm gonna organize a bit my test case. So I'm gonna wrap this in a comment and I'm gonna call it SSH, for example, because what I like to do now is I want to show you how to add another session, so I can have 2 sessions in my test case. So in order to do that, I follow the same process as I did before. I just add a new session. This time is going to be a telnet session, so I'm going to rename it. This I'm going to leave it at TCL, and then I'm going to select my telnet session. So here I just need to configure my IP address, and the port 23 is the default one. And I follow the same steps as I did before. I'm going to try to input some commands so I'm able to see all the prompts so they are stored for that session. Once that's done, I can just close it. And as you can see in this case, there are 4 prompts because here I also have to input my login. And as I did before, I'm just gonna go and edit these prompts to make them general, so any user that logs into my server is gonna be able to create an automation and run it. So I use my wildcards only in the cases that are necessary. And now I'm gonna save it and start it just to verify that all the prompts are properly recognized by iTest. Alright, so now I'm gonna go and I'm gonna add some more steps to my test case. In order to do that, I just need to capture some more steps and add them in the place I want to add them. In this case, it's gonna be after my last step of the test. So I'm gonna start the session and I'm recording already, so I'm just gonna input some commands in this telnet session just for you to see that I'm gonna be able to run my SSH session first and then my telnet session afterwards. And all of this is done very easily. So I did a pin this time, and that is gonna be add to my test case. So now again, I'm gonna organize my test case so it looks tidy. I'm gonna wrap in a comment these new steps, and then I'm gonna place it out of my previous comment by using the indent tool. Alright, so now I can just run my test and you are gonna see how my 2 connections are open to my Ubuntu server, 1 and 2. And this is the result where I've got first my SSH session and then my telnet session, and the analysis rule was true, so this test passed. We hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you so much for watching, and contact us if you have any questions or comments.